So far, we have covered quite a number of sections in the thesis. These include the title, abstract, introductions, literature review, methodology, results, analysis, and discussions. In these videos, we're going to proceed our discussions with the conclusions. You know that the conclusions is the part of the research paper that brings everything together in a logical manner. It provides a clear interpretations of the results of your research in a way that stresses the significance of your study. You will need to address your objective of the study as well as answer the research questions. In the previous chapter regarding the technical reading, we have mentioned about the techniques of reading the technical paper within a short period of time, which will reshuffle the sequence of reading, where the conclusion sections is one of the earliest sections that is being read by the experienced reader in order to get an overview of the content of the paper as well as the themes of the paper. Normally, the readers will first encounter the conclusions immediately after reading the title and the abstracts. This shows the significance of the conclusion section. Therefore, these sections needs to be properly constructed in order to ensure that the readers can have some takeaway message after reading the paper. It brings everything together, making sense of every component of your research study, from the problems, objective, your research method, your results, your findings, and also the significance of your findings. These are the typical components of the conclusions, which you need to restate your research topic, making known to the reader the problem that you are actually trying to address. You will need to restate the thesis, which is the theory, argument, or solutions that is put forward as a premise to be proved. You will need to summarize the main points, which you pull all the points that you have acquired from the investigations together in order to create a bigger pictures on the topics that you are studying, and then state the significance of the results in order to ensure the relevancy of the readers with the purpose of your study. This can be done by placing the findings in the context of real social change and state how they can impact a specific outcome. I guess this is the part that most of the students did not take into considerations. If you would like your conclusions to be more impactful, you will have to make it relevant to the reader, or at least relevant to the reality, to the social, to the nations, or even to the world. Most of the conclusions constructed with a clear statement of the problem, with good compilations of the main points that acquired from the investigations, but seems to be disconnected from the reader, which after the reader have gone through your paper, it will end up just another piece of information to the reader, instead of having certain message to be taken away by the reader. Then you may also conclude your talks. You can pose an idea that gets your readers thinking further about your argument. This is also a part that many students do not cover. You know that the conclusions is not a summary, although it has the components of summary, but it cannot be fully summarizing your thesis or your paper. There should be elements of what next, which will bring the readers an aftertaste, keep your talks within their mind, that in the ideal situations, the readers can reading about your points or at least acquire certain agreements with your argument, which they can still easily recall even after some time that they had read your paper. Personally, I feel the challenging part of constructing the conclusions, it will be these two components. In order to ensure your conclusions is connected to the reader, you must first know the reader. What is their motivations to read your paper? What are they looking for? And then the second one, it will be how do you conclude your thoughts, which bring impacts to the reader, making them to rethink about your argument so that your argument continuously stay in their heads and can easily be retrieved upon encountering similar situations. Knowing the readers is important. Making your finding connected to the reader is also important. However, this is provided that you are not supposed to compromise the quality of the conclusions or the factual aspect of your findings just for the sake that trying to fit the appetites of the readers. I would say that if the reader do not see their connections with your findings, you will need to educate them regarding the significance of the findings. Theoretically, by this stage, whichever that you have acquired from your investigations must be significant, as you did the significant evaluations at the early stage of your research study, doing the literature review, finding the research gap, as well as seeking for the significance of the topics that you are studying. Therefore, when you reach to the completions of your project, if you find your findings is not actually significant to the topic, there must be something wrong which you have overlooked at the early stage of development of your investigations. You will see that the entire research study come in one piece. The stages and the elements in the research study are interconnected. Any mistakes that occurs at the early stage of the research will influence the output of the research later. Therefore, with due diligence, you have to carry out your research carefully in order to yield a quality research output.